Part 58. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 571. Poseidon? Is this still the Cain that Poseidon knew? According to rumors, Cain is decisive in killing, unruly, and dares to challenge the blood ancestor. How could it become like this? You know, when Poseidon was still weak, Cain was already famous among all races. Poseidon also used Cain as his idol and worked hard for a period of time. Now, facing such shameless Cain, Poseidon has a sense of disillusionment as if his idol filter had been shattered. Thousands of mistakes are made, but they all fall on one person. Poseidon looked at Shura and had a new understanding of the saying, everything close to the strongest will inevitably suffer disaster. He is certain of one thing. If you stay with Shura for a long time, you will easily lose your temper. We need to get rid of this troublesome guy as soon as possible. Poseidon weighed his wallet and estimated that this time, even if he died, his skin would peel off. Shura, have you forgotten? Poseidon said in a deep voice. You also killed my daughter, twice. I almost forgot if you didn't mention it. It's my fault. I'm so sorry. Yabai clapped his hands together, eyes shining with stars, and asked curiously. I've done you such a big favor, and you can't justify it if you don't give me more, right? Poseidon? Can you please listen to what you are saying? Is this human language? Is this something that humans can do? Shura killed Poseidon's daughter and asked Poseidon for money. He wanted to go to the 99th floor and crash to death, beat the drum of injustice, and accuse Shura of various deeds. Poseidon also realized that his previous worries were completely unnecessary. Shura will not feel any pressure at all when facing the most powerful demon. This guy looks more like the supreme demon god than the supreme demon god. After going around in a big circle, I finally had to add money. However, Poseidon also knew very well that he would probably not be able to keep his savings. He left the Eternal Tower this time not to travel, but to become a demon. No matter how agreed upon by both parties in advance. The opposition between the abyss and the human race cannot be eliminated. It is precisely because of this that, if Poseidon brings out too many resources, it will definitely not be good news for the human race. The eighth demon god that the human race needs is Su Qingfeng among demon gods, not Xuemeng among demon gods. Poseidon even suspected that it was precisely because of Shura's flying goose character that the human race sent him to connect with him. My remaining assets, in exchange for the god of war's merits, are only 600,000. Poseidon stopped pretending and showed his cards. I am a poor man. 600,000, I know you won't agree. Poseidon turned around and pointed at Cain. Didn't he say that I destroyed 3 god-level puppets? Hearing this, Cain's pale face felt slightly hot. This was the first time that he was so shameless, a little shy, a little unaccustomed to it, and it was normal. As long as you follow Shura for a long time, you will get used to it sooner or later. How about compensation like this? Poseidon gave his own solution. Anyway, you have to kill me 8 times. During the killing process, Cain will take as much material as he can to make a puppet. Everyone depends on their abilities, how about that? This plan is fairly fair. Yabai looked at Cain and cast a questioning look. Do you have this ability? Cain wanted to say yes, but he knew that if he messed up, he would be the one to suffer. No matter how you say it, Poseidon is a level 997 powerhouse. If you want to pull out the tiger's teeth, you need some real skills. Anyway, Cain has embarked on the path of shameless Shura, and Cain has nothing to show off. He said frankly. I need to increase my strength to the peak of level 989 before I have a chance to steal some materials from Poseidon. Cain also knew that level 989 was the limit that Demon Lord Shura could accept. It is absolutely impossible for Shura to allow himself to break through level 990. In that case, Shura himself would not feel safe. Yabai was also unambiguous and asked, "How many drops of Forbidden Prince's essence and blood are needed?" Cain answered truthfully, "Counting what I have on hand, I still need 200 drops. Yabai calculated, "I gave you 100 drops before, now I'll give you 200 drops, 3,000 God of War merits for one drop. Now that I'm so familiar with it, I'll give you a little bit of a bargain, so I can collect the entire 1 million God of War meritorious service." Poseidon looked confused and had questions on his head. Cain's expression was indifferent, and there was no wave in the ancient well. The mathematics of the demon lord is like this, understand it? Yabai took out 2 vials of essence and blood, handed them to Cain, and at the same time warned, "For the materials you fished from Poseidon, you must first repay the debt of 1 million for the God of War's merits, and we will divide the rest between 30 and 70. As you wish." I have to say that this time the demon lord is rare and somewhat humane. Just when Cain was about to take action, Yabai made another request that was not excessive. "Can I summon people from the exclusive space to help?" In order to convince Poseidon, Yabai even took the initiative to introduce the situation of his exclusive space to dispel the other party's doubts. A good-for-nothing vampire duke, a poor goblin, a winged angel who is invisible to everyone, an elf who rubs people's shoulders and beats their legs. The most important thing is that Yabai patted his chest and promised. Their levels are all above level 990. Then, okay. Poseidon couldn't think of any reason to refuse. Would he, a majestic level 997 god, be afraid of these weaklings? There is only one reason why Cain can fight across levels and snatch things from the hands of level 997 Poseidon with his level 989 strength, he is Cain. Among the vampires, one person is inferior to others and is superior to 10,000 people. The people Shura mentioned sounded very weak. It's okay not to mention the vampire duke. Goblins are the most greedy for money. They are so poor. What can they do? Angels are even funnier. 2 winged angels, I'm afraid they've just reached level 600, right? The elves are the most arrogant, and the elves who are willing to deign to serve as maids are not much better. There is nothing to be afraid of. Therefore, Poseidon opened the space blockade, allowing Shura to shake people from the exclusive space. This was also the decision he regretted most in his life. "Honored Master, your servant Dracula obeys your call and fights for you to the last drop of blood." There was a thunderbolt in the clear sky, and the German pig made its debut. The moment Dracula appeared, Poseidon's face froze slightly. He could feel the aura of Poseidon from the other party. This guy turned out to be the blasphemer on the road to Poseidon, the God-Eater. If Poseidon hadn't abandoned his position as Poseidon, the first thing he would have done when he saw Dracula was to kill him. Then, Poseidon saw a thing goblin coming out. "Gujin, why are you here?" Poseidon even exclaimed. The business of Wanwu Pavilion in the Eternal Temple is managed by a goblin named Gujin from the outside. This goblin's vicious vision and rich methods can make the gods tremble. Gujin didn't expect to meet an acquaintance here, so he smiled implicitly. "Thanks to my boss, I work at my own expense." Behind Gujin, another dark-skinned elf came out, with a cold expression and a pair of bows and arrows on his back, which was particularly extraordinary. Wasteland Elf Envoy. He is also a powerful person who became famous in ancient times. Poseidon even fought against him. Gujin came close to Shura and whispered the report. "The master said that she will share 50% of the spoils of the Wasteland Elf." The Wasteland Elf Envoy was Master Fool's maid. Being shaken over by Yabai also required Master Fool's consent. "Look at how stingy she is. Who is she looking down on? Am I such a stingy person?" Yabai waved his hand and said without any doubt. Give her 30%. Everyone. If you are stingy, you are no longer a human being. At last. A low-key black angel with two wings walked out of the portal with a numb face and appeared behind Shura. Is this the opponent in this battle? Gabriel looked at Poseidon and said expressionlessly. Shura, it's a little troublesome to kill him. Poseidon? What a crazy angel. Just two wings, how dare you do this? Before Poseidon could get angry, I heard Gabriel speak again and said to Shura. You step back, don't spill blood on yourself. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 572. The moment the battle actually started, Poseidon knew that he was wrong. Big mistake. These guys looked ordinary, but when they struck, each one was more ruthless than the other. Dracula controls a puppet with the aura of a god, madly devouring the origin of Poseidon to strengthen himself. The elf envoy of the wasteland stood in the distance, drawing his bow and nocking an arrow. It took a long time before he shot an arrow. But every arrow she shoots can severely damage Poseidon's body, sending a gorgeous light across the sky. Those were the trophies she had obtained, and Gujin helped her collect them, and then divided the accounts between them. The sun bow and moon arrow are all made from the origin of the top elf warriors of the elves. When the two are combined, they are comparable to SSS level equipment. The wasteland elf follows the Fool Master, who is her only life-saving straw. In fact, Master Fool's temper is definitely not good, and he is even a little irritable. How can there be any good people in the demon clan? The wasteland elf envoy also knew very well that this was a rare opportunity for her to create some value for the Fool Master. If you don't perform well, it will be difficult to get this kind of opportunity in the future. Gujin did not directly participate in the battle. As a goblin, he cannot have any super fighting power. But Gujin's eyes were the most vicious among everyone present, and the Poseidon whom he glanced at had no secrets at all. Gujin kept reporting points, allowing everyone to attack important parts and plunder more valuable resources, which saved Yebai a lot of trouble. Relying on the Eye of Insight, Yebai can certainly achieve the same effect. But it would be a bit unruly to surround and beat up an old god like this. Yebai disdains it. He plays solo kill. Do you understand solo kill? The one who puts the most pressure on Poseidon is the two-winged black angel Gabriel. Boom. Gabriel punched down hard with both fists, and Poseidon's huge body flew backwards, with streams of light constantly flying out. The results of each of Gabriel's blows were several times that of the others. When did the angel clan appear with people like you? Poseidon couldn't hide the shock in his eyes and drank in a low voice. If you enter the eternal temple, there will definitely be a place for you on the mountains. Gabriel's face was still indifferent, as calm as water, like a pool of stagnant water. Boom. He stretched his wings, increased his speed to the extreme, and punched again, severely injuring Poseidon. So much nonsense. Gabriel didn't care what temple Poseidon was talking about, or what place on the mountains he was talking about. Due to the prior agreement, Poseidon could only be beaten and could not fight back. Even so, Poseidon ignored the attacks from others and stared at Gabriel, very puzzled. Poseidon wanted an answer as to why a strong man like Gabriel would become like this. Not all questions can be answered. After hitting a wall with Gabriel, Poseidon turned his attention to Shura. The evil Shura, as long as he has money, he will become an all-powerful Shura. Poseidon has never seen it before. Nothing can be done with extra money in Shura. After receiving the materials of Poseidon's 50,000 God of War meritorious service, Yebai taught Poseidon a new lesson, what it means to receive money without doing anything. Sorry, I respect Gabriel's personal wishes very much. If he doesn't want to say it, I can't force him. Yebai's words were righteous and confident. Dracula, Cain? When can you respect the vampires? Discriminating against the lower three races, right? Unfair. Shura can be shameless, but Gabriel cannot. Since Shura accepted Poseidon's money, Gabriel felt that he needed to give an answer. He followed Shura for two reasons. 1. Repay the debt owed by the angel clan. To be honest, there are thousands of enemies against Shura, and the angel race on the 32nd floor is the one who has suffered the best fate. Gabriel's contribution accounts for at least half of it. Second, following Shura, Gabriel had the opportunity to see the sword and the swordsman again. He wanted to see what happened to the swordsman after the battle with the most powerful demon. Gabriel stared at Poseidon and spoke slowly. You are not the strongest seed, so you won't understand. The most powerful seed means that a clan has the most hope of becoming the most powerful being. Once you embark on this road to becoming the strongest, there is no chance of looking back. You can only win, not lose. On the road to greatness, there will be success and defeat. If you lose, who is the strongest person? After Gabriel lost to Wuhan, his path to becoming the strongest was cut off. He can indeed continue to become stronger, and he can also break through to the level of a quasi-god, or even a god. Even if there is a big difference in realm, in Gabriel's eyes, killing Poseidon is not difficult. At the same level, Gabriel was originally the top powerhouse. Disregarding the strongest humans, he is almost invincible. But what he met was Wuhan. The truth, this is indeed the truth. Yabai nodded slightly, acknowledging Gabriel's idea. Even though Shura's reputation is not very good. Since his debut, he has fought hundreds of battles, big and small, without losing a single one. The kind of verbal defeat to Lan Bangxian was simply ignored in Yebai's heart. That's human nature. However, in Yebai's opinion, Gabriel's path went astray. When Gabriel reunited with Wuhan's projection, Wuhan didn't even look at him. In the eyes of the most powerful Wuhan, this former angel's most powerful seed has long been absent. The reason is very simple. I work hard, and want to be a blockbuster. In Wuhan's opinion, it was not the work of a man. When you encounter an enemy, just use your sword to chop him down. If you can't win by cutting, come back again in 2 days. When you encounter a mountain, you build a mountain. When you encounter a river, you build a bridge. If a god stands in the way, you will kill the god. If you stand in the way of the Buddha, you will kill the Buddha. Being timid and hiding one's head and tail, what kind of powerful seed is that? What kind of person is he? Back then, Wuhan spared Gabriel's life in order to create an interesting opponent. If I had known that Gabriel had been in a state of confusion for more than 70 years, I might as well have given him a break with a sword. My second brother has a sword called Wan Tiancheng. Yabai suddenly spoke, and all the strong men in the field stopped at the same time and listened carefully to Shura's words. Some shameless Dracula even took out a notebook and started taking notes. Cain gave Dracula a disgusted look, his flattery was vivid on the paper, and he was embarrassing the vampires. Cain decided that after returning, he would convene a meeting of the vampire secret elders to expel Dracula from his blood status. Gabriel also stopped and looked at Shura quietly. He had never seen that man use the sword to turn the sky. Do you know the effect of turning the world upside down? Yabai saw Gabriel's confusion and explained. In layman's terms, this is a blood lock. The confusion in Gabriel's eyes became even heavier. What does Wan Tianqing have to do with him? What does Shura want to say? What I'm trying to say is simple. Yabai said sincerely. Even if you are as strong as my second brother, you were forced into desperate situations when you were growing up and were forced to realize how to save the world. If he didn't have a near-death experience, there would be no need for Wuhan to create the sword move. Gabriel seemed to understand. Shura, who is holding the Heavenly King's sword, is like a peerless sword that has been dusted for many years, reappearing in the world, stirring up the storm. A divine and flawless spotlight seemed to fall on Yebai, making him even taller. On the road to becoming the strongest, you must dare to win, and even more dare to lose. The strongest person who has a smooth journey, even if he reaches level 1000, is just another old Su. Yebai said coldly. What's the big deal if you lose? Isn't it okay if you win? These words were spoken loudly and with such force that the image of Shura in everyone's eyes was a little blurry for a while. Why does the demon lord seem to be a different demon lord today? Well said. Gabriel nodded slowly. Obviously, Shura's words really touched his heart. Gabriel spoke again. But he is Wuhan. Can you show me if you win one? Yebai smiled and waved his hand. Oh, that's okay. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 573. As Yebai finished speaking, the light on his body slowly faded, and the aura slowly disappeared. Don't use light magic to light up the lights next time, it's a bit too hot. Yebai educates Dracula. Even if it is used, it must be combined with ice magic to cool down the temperature and so on. Dracula nodded and took notes. The light just now was released artificially. Everyone. Cain even rolled his eyes, and the dignified vampire ran to learn light magic. Dracula is no longer rebellious. On the road of betraying the blood ancestor, Dracula gradually drifted away. After a brief interlude, the battle was back on track. Although Poseidon cannot fight back, it is not easy to take various valuable things from his hands. Fortunately, everyone present has special skills. Otherwise, they would not be qualified to enter the highest standard sheep pens and be raised in them. Gujin was helping Yebai settle accounts and reporting real-time developments as the battle progressed. Boss, if you continue like this, when you reach level 990. Gujin reported a number. Cain collected almost 1.05 million materials, Dracula 650,000, the Wasteland Elf 700,000, and Gabriel 2.1 million. According to Yebai's previous agreement on dividing the accounts. From Cain's place, Yebai first took 1 million and then divided the money between 50,000 and 37, Cain took 15,000. Dracula's situation is quite special. These materials are theoretically owned by Yebai. But Dracula's blood sea puppet, the materials just fished out from the Poseidon, were immediately devoured. This account needs to be settled with Dracula in the future. The 700,000 the Wasteland Elf envoy needed to give 30% to Master Fool, so Yebai got 490,000. Needless to say, Gabriel's 2.1 million will all belong to Yebai. What a great harvest! Yebai calculated that this time it was really a bumper harvest. Adding to the 5.6 million previously exploited from Poseidon, these zeros and zeros amount to a total of 9,855,020 God of War meritorious deeds. Close to 10 million. The gods are rich. Yebai couldn't help but sigh, the expenses for the next period of time are there. Relying on Poseidon, Yebai took a crucial step towards becoming the richest man in the human race. Similarly, judging from the situation of exploiting the Poseidon, the worth of a god is equivalent to the merits of a god of war worth tens of millions. People with more seniority like Poseidon have more savings. A quasi-god like Shadow Brother has a poor family background, and the most valuable thing in his body is his shadow source. Just like that, he was tricked by Yingju. Yebai, who had gained tens of millions of war god deeds, was in a good mood and set his sights on the battle situation. The 997 level Poseidon has been on the verge of level 990 after a series of hard battles. There is still a trace of blood left, and he will fall to level 990 and fall from the position of Poseidon. With this trace of blood, Everyone tacitly stopped and left the battlefield. Shura holds the heavenly king's sword, which has been folded and ready to go. Thunder. A bolt of thunder penetrates this troubled world. Boom. The thunder fell, the sea god's throne was shattered, the divine fire was extinguished, and the divine body was gone. Changes also occurred in the eternal temple. At the foot of the mountains, a sea stone fell off. Poseidon, officially removed from the eternal temple. Poseidon, who fell to level 989, showed his true face in front of everyone for the first time. A sea cucumber. Everyone never expected that the Poseidon turned out to be a spirit of sea cucumber, trained to become a god. This contrast is too great. Yabai, who has the eye of insight, is not surprised at all. The sea cucumber, covered in charred black, flew through the air without stopping, and forcibly left the 34th floor. For Poseidon, after falling to level 989, he lost his status as a god and his greatest support. Every second you waste increases your risk. He must act as soon as possible to get out of danger. The Poseidon who flew away through the sky did not forget to restore his appearance on the way and transformed into a middle-aged woman. In order to escape for his life, he risked his life. Poseidon himself has many enemies, and he is at his weakest at this time. And he cooperated with the human race during this trip and wanted to go to the abyss to become a demon. Many gods are concerned about this errand and want to have a hand in it. The connection place should be right here. The Poseidon, who looked like a middle-aged ant, settled in the eternal core city, looking left and right, looking for someone to connect with him. Soon, a strong man carrying a bloody hammer ran over. Only you. Poseidon saw the other party's appearance clearly and was a little dissatisfied. He originally thought that the person to contact him, no matter how bad he was, should be the god of war. Even Wang Tianwang has surpassed level 990, right? Who would have thought that a guy with level 989 would show up? Xuemeng looked at Poseidon's appearance and knew that he had been exploited miserably by Shura. For a moment, he even felt sympathy for him. Xuemeng patted his chest and assured. Don't worry, I have a lot of face in the abyss, no one dares to deny me face. This makes sense. The most powerful adopted son may not be a big deal, the most powerful person's face is the key. Then let's set off quickly. Poseidon urged eagerly. Poseidon's expression was dull and petrified. Xuemeng showed an honest smile. Moreover, this IOU is very interesting. It only requires the signature of Poseidon, no swearing, and no enforcement means. Don't get me wrong. The only flaw is that the borrower of this IOU is Shura. Once you violate our agreement and do something harmful to the human race, this IOU will be handed over to Shura. If Poseidon had a bigger heart, there would be no price to pay for him even if he turned his back and refused to admit it after signing the contract. Yingju's reputation is worthless, and Shura's reputation is worthless. Poseidon took the file and looked through it. You know, when Wang Tianwang communicates with Poseidon, he uses his own wealth and life as a guarantee. Wait a moment, there is one last procedure to go. Is there still an honest person in the human race? Poseidon? Xuemeng took out a document that he had prepared long ago and introduced. Not to Shura? Xuemeng patted his shoulder and comforted him. With Shura's character, after receiving the IOU, even if Poseidon has ascended to the upper world, he will probably be collected for debt. A chill surged into Poseidon's heart, and his heart felt so cold. Poseidon was angry and accused. Now that I have paid out money and lost my level, how can you just sit there and raise the price? Xuemeng said slowly. Xuemeng explained patiently. This is a protection mechanism specially set up for our sincere cooperation. The human race promises you not to use Shura to collect debts first. You ask me to interact with Shura, and I will bear it. I owe you. He didn't want to stay in this miserable place for a minute longer. Could it be that even Wang Tianwang has devalued? I owe Shura 10 million God of War merits, with a daily interest rate of 3.6%. The content is very simple, that is, Poseidon owes 10 million God of War meritorious deeds, with a daily interest rate of 3.6%, no limit, and he cannot afford to pay with his life. Sign this IOU, and I will send you to the 8th abyss, and even guarantee that you will have a high probability of becoming the 8th demon god. Poseidon was a little confused. After he signed the IOU, the human race didn't give the IOU to Shura, so why bother with such a big deal? You can first take a look at the content of the IOU and the conditions for its validity. In other words, this IOU will be kept in my hands. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 574. Eternal Tower. 34 floors. After Sea Cucumber Poseidon ran away, Yebai didn't pay much attention. The opponent fled to the 8th abyss, and it would take a lot of effort to compete for the position of the 8th demon god. There will be more opportunities to deal with you in the future. Yebai was in a good mood after making a small profit of tens of millions from the god of war. After sending everyone back to their exclusive space, Yebai was ready to continue his journey through the barrier. This involved his 5th career change, and there was no room for sloppiness on his part. After the small episode, the entire 34th floor returned to normal, with monsters constantly pouring out and falling to the sword of the Heavenly King. Soon, Yebai raised the exploration level to 100%. A job transfer platform appeared in front of Yebai. This table is the size of a classroom, square in shape, and completely black. Yebai doesn't know what material it is made of. I know that there are 12 tons of SS-grade material ancient heavenly gold and 5 tons of S-grade material Diao sand. Close your eyes. Yebai couldn't help but rolled his eyes. Where reliability is not required, Tanyan is always extremely reliable. Step onto the job transfer stage to complete your 5th job transfer. Yebai did not rush to change jobs immediately, but carefully took out a feather. Yebai got this from his 3rd brother. When using it during job transfer, he can get an additional career, the soul system. Yebai still has some small expectations for this matter. Yebai's soul affinity is very high, ranking among the best among all elements, and he is very suitable for the soul element. Unfortunately, Yebai's luck was not very good during the first 4 job transfers, and he had no chance to transfer to the soul system. Rely on you. Yebai held the feather in his palm, took a deep breath, and stepped onto the job transfer stage. Brush. The square job changing platform began to rotate, and while rotating, it flew upward. Yebai on the job transfer stage was messy in the wind. Could this be the legendary flying spiral? Rotating, soaring, I closed my eyes. This time, the job transfer table will be raised based on how many monsters Yebai kills on the 34th floor. According to common sense, Yebai, who has an exploration degree of 100%, should be able to rise as high as the sky and change jobs perfectly. But Yebai even killed Poseidon once. Gods should not be monsters that appear on the 34th floor. With this level of record, Yebai's job transfer platform was soaring very quickly. In the blink of an eye, Yebai felt that he was about to touch the pinnacle of this world. However, the speed of the job transfer table did not slow down at all, but continued to accelerate, and it crashed into it. Just when Yebai was about to touch the ceiling, the feather he had been holding in his palm became slightly hot. Next moment, Yebai's soul came out of his shell and jumped out of this world. This ethereal feeling is wonderful. Yebai turned around and looked down at the world. Everything seemed to be suspended. The moment in the real world is the eternity of this moment. However, this feeling was fleeting, and Yebai returned quickly, as if waking up from a dream, breathing in fresh air. Is this the soul system? The job transfer platform under Yebai's feet was suspended on the ceiling without any movement. The job transfer has been completed. Yebai was not in a hurry to look at the attribute panel, he was more concerned about another thing. At the moment when his soul was out of body, Yebai realized a detail. His soul and body are a perfect match. To use a commonly used term in internet literature, under the general category of time traveler, Yebai is not a soul traveler, but a wearer. Of course, Yebai can also accept the fact of being dressed. But the problem is, where is the original Yebai? Yebai entered this world seamlessly. He had a legal identity and was studying well, but he was still stuck before the awakening of his talent. It's all so coincidental. If this was reading an online article, Yebai could barely accept it. Even if the setting was a bit mindless, he could still read it patiently. If he really couldn't read it, he could read it in another book. There are thousands of articles on the internet, if they don't work, we will change them. But when all this really happens to me, Yebai must think about whether these coincidences imply anything. Maybe there is some unknown conspiracy behind his time travel. Time travel has always been Yebai's biggest secret. Even Master Ju doesn't know about it. Now that Master Ju has gone to the abyss of power, Yebai has no chance even if he wants to show off his cards. Yebai also felt troubled, how to deal with this matter. Tell third brother? Third brother's own thinking is prone to problems. If Yebai ran to find the third brother's reaction might be, "Oh, there's something wrong with your thinking too. It's true that we have sympathy for each other." Tell second brother? Traceless is a good choice. As an attending physician with many years of treatment experience, Wilhan is proficient in first-hand physical therapy. Don't worry about whether there is something wrong with your brain or not, just slashing with two swords will solve the problem. If you can't solve Shura's problem, then solve Shura's problem. Yebai suddenly felt that compared to his irritable brother Wilhan, Xiaoao was kind and kind. The only person who can relieve the oppression of the strongest is another strongest. Do not care. Yebai put this matter behind him, and after leaving the 34th floor, he went to ask his third brother. The attribute panel after job transfer popped up in front of him. Eternal ID, Shura. Talent, Eye of Insight, SSS level. Level, 500. Occupation, Great Mage with the title of Wrath of Heaven, Thunder Fire Shadow, SSS level. Second occupation, Shura title Mage, Windwood Water, SSS level. Third occupation, Soul Researcher, Soul System, SSS level. Title, Fire Thief. HP, 85.85 million/85.85 million. MP, 99.46 million/99.46 million. Strength, 655,000, add 678,000. Intelligence, 964,000, add 1.158 million. Spirit, 705,000, add 802,000. Agility, 438,000, add 458,000. Physique, 496,000, add 501,000. Luck, 17. Equipment, Force of Nature, SSS level, etc. Skills, Death, etc. Status, Bankruptcy, etc. Compared with before the job change, the attributes have doubled, and the blood volume and mana volume are close to the 100 million level. Since the power of nature can increase all attributes by 100%, while Yebai's basic attributes have increased, his additional attributes have also increased. After reaching level 500, Yebai felt for the first time the confidence of a truly strong man. As the level increases, the higher the level, the greater the attribute improvement and the stronger the strength. In other words, if you play the basics well in the early stage, you can develop stronger combat power in the later stage. Su Qingfen is the only exception. Su Qingfen belongs to this category. He has a solid foundation and made great progress all the way. After reaching the 9th level of God of War, he suddenly had a big hip. A single example does not represent the true level of the 9th level God of War. In addition to the improvement in attributes, blood volume, etc., Ye Bai's biggest gain this time is the soul type job change. Thanks for the message from third brother. Soul Researcher. Ye Bai looked at the Soul Researcher's introduction and started studying it. You can learn/use/develop skills that are effective on the soul to achieve attacks, hypnosis, treatment, brainwashing, etc. With in-depth research on the souls of other races, targeted soul skills can be developed. Note 1, cannot be used on humans. Note 2, research and development skills do not consume soul energy, and research samples are obtained by killing. After reading the last sentence, Ye Bai sighed helplessly. It's a pity that to study souls, you must kill them before you can study them. Otherwise, there would be quite a few vampires in my family. The words were full of regret. Cain on the side. Everyone else has returned to their exclusive space. Cain, as the shield spirit, did not follow him back. As we all know, after Shura leaves the shield, his sense of security will plummet, and Cain will definitely not be able to go back. The problem is, Shura seems to have forgotten about him. Cain looked pale and wanted to post a question online. Hearing the demon lord's true words, what could he say to show some backbone when he was silenced? Urgent, waiting online. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 575. After putting away the attribute panel, Ye Bai glanced at Cain and said nothing. Ye Bai relied on Cain and made a small profit today. This made Ye Bai change his opinion a lot. Moreover, every vampire knows how vampiric Ye Bai's attitude towards vampires is. It's not a big secret, there's no need to keep it secret. In the previous battle, the 34th floor had undergone earth-shaking changes. The passage between the 34th floor and the Eternal Temple was also destroyed during the battle. Ye Bai did what he promised Ta Ling before. Such a small thing must be sold at a good price. Putting Cain back on the shield, Ye Bai summoned the Eternal Core Crystal and prepared to fight with the Tower Spirit. Tower, 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 Tower. Ye Bai called to the Tower Spirit rhythmically. It's so noisy. The Eternal Core Crystal changes color, and the Tower Spirit comes online, urging. Took it back. Damn it, settle the matter quickly. Look at how anxious you are, the money hasn't been negotiated yet. Ye Bai has a very professional principle. Every 10 cents of money is worth every penny. Want to prostitute Ye Bai for free? Dream. There are no doors. Aren't you tired of negotiating the price layer by layer like this? Of course the Tower Spirit knew that Shura couldn't be bothered. Make money, don't worry. But the tower is troubled. The trouble is secondary, the main reason is that the Pagoda Spirit doesn't have that much wool, so Shura must pluck it every day. In Ta Ling's view, it is best to initially sign a long-term friendly cooperation agreement and act within the framework to avoid bankruptcy. That's it. After hearing Ta Ling's appeal, Ye Bai was embarrassed to go too far. We've just reached the 34th floor, so it's early. When Ye Bai completes the 100th floor, this eternal tower might be renamed Shura Tower. After some talking, the two sides finally reached an agreement. In the next period of time, Ye Bai will take whatever he can take with him when he breaks through the border. After the level is cleared, the Tower Spirit will issue buff to all humans. Although not strong enough. But it is the best buff within the capabilities of the Tower Spirit. This 70% is considered free and easy. Ye Bai and Master Fool divided the remaining little money. That's pretty much it? Yabai placed his palm on the eternal core crystal and completed the settlement. Although a beep sounded late, it rang throughout the eternal tower. Congratulations to player Shura for successfully retaking the 34th floor of the eternal tower. Player Shura SSSS level clears the 34th floor. After leaving the 34th floor, Yabai went back to his exclusive space first. Fool. Yabai ran back excitedly and said seriously. I have thought about your previous proposal and it is indeed feasible. Oh. Master Fool was stunned. He didn't expect Shura to make such a statement. Is he willing to spend money? What happened to this guy? He broke his brain by breaking through the barrier? She remembered that when her maid came back, Gujin also said that Shura agreed to a 30-70 split. According to the fool's understanding of Shura, dividing it into 37 is a bit too unajura. Didn't you say before that you could convert 100 million gold coins into copper coins in one day? Yabai waved his big hand, and a sea of copper appeared in front of Master Fool. The copper was brilliant, and it seemed that Shura's painful wails could be heard. To show my sincerity, I first converted 100 million copper coins. Master Fool was even more surprised. She looked at Shura suspiciously and asked warily. How do I know if you are deceiving me with a pile of copper coins? Yabai made the most vicious oath. These 100 million copper coins are converted into gold coins. If not, I will see my third brother turning into a dog. Hiss. Everyone gasped, what a vicious oath. Shura is really willing to go all out? At this time, Kane, who was passing by, said casually. Indeed, I can attest to that. Compared with Shura, Kane's reputation is not that good. Dracula glanced at Kane in surprise, his eyes full of vigilance. It's over, this guy has also learned bad things. Dracula feels threatened and his position is in jeopardy. What Kane said was certainly true, but not the whole truth. This 100 million copper coins was an accident. When Poseidon gave it to Shura, he was inadvertently transformed. Yabai threw a copper coin to Master Fool. You are a blacksmith master, you can definitely see the clues, right? Master Fool took a second look and realized that what Shura said was true. Yabai took the copper coin back and explained. Sincerity, you have also seen it? Let's each take a step back. Yabai came up with a sincere plan. 100 million today, 10 million tomorrow, divide each day by 10, a total of 7 days, how about that? Fool master? Do you think I don't understand exponentials? No. The idiot master can't take advantage of Shura in vain. The effect she wanted was to see Shura look heartbroken. She didn't care about a small amount like 100 million gold coins. How about this? The fool master smiled evilly and came up with a particularly demonic plan. I provide eternal gold coins and give them all to you. You just need to convert them into copper coins in front of me. Yabai. Hiss. What a vicious demon. Yabai felt that the most powerful demon's murderous deeds were ineffective. The idiot master's murderous intention has taken effect. His breath failed and he almost choked to death. Master Fool urged. Okay, please give me a nice word. Listening to the strange words, Yabai snorted coldly. The Fool Master said modestly. No way, there won't be anyone who doesn't even have a stake in Wanwu Pavilion, right? Moved. The source of greed has moved. Okay. The scene was extremely busy, with mountains of gold piled up one after another, shining with an alluring light. In a dedicated space. Yabai looked at the culprit and gritted his teeth and said. A cold voice interrupted Yabai's thinking. Dracula tried his best not to laugh out loud. There are a total of 2.5 billion eternal gold coins here, let's use them as today's appetizer. This is the first time he has seen so many eternal gold coins. That's just the shares of Wanwu Pavilion. Idiot, You are quite rich. Yabai stood outside Jinshan with a sad face and wanted to cry but had no tears. Then, she pretended to be surprised and asked. This was a rare moment when she had the upper hand in the confrontation with Shura. The key is, Yabai also agreed. I don't know who I learned it from. Master Fool raised his right arm and said gracefully. Azura, it's okay, no wonder. Master, think on the bright side, at least you are a free hand. Please. Just average. Master Fool hired Gujin and other teams with a high salary to record this precious scene. Golden, shiny, so charming, such a lovely gold coin, as if it can breathe, calling him affectionately. Camera number 2, get in position. Lights, in place. The scene of the demon lord being defeated is really rare. If Yabai works as a street lamp pendant one day, he might sell the ropes himself. Finally, Yabai squeezed out one word from between his teeth. Ignoring the scornful complaints, Yabai looked at the field again, his heart almost bleeding. Could it be you? Camera, get in position. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 576. 2.5 billion eternal gold coins. Those cute and charming little cuties exuding endless charm immediately lost their golden color and turned into little cuties like copper coins after coming into contact with Yabai. Moreover, there is a magical charm to losing money. There is no need for Yabai to touch every gold coin. As long as Yabai touches it lightly, all the gold coins on the Jinshan mountain will automatically turn into copper coins. Yabai didn't know how he got out of these golden mountains. He was like a frustrated man, a walking zombie, numb and left his exclusive space. Looking at his back, Master Fool actually felt something indescribable. Hiss. The Fool Master secretly said. Could it be that this guy has been tricked too much? Dracula glanced at the Fool and sneered in his heart. What a fool. Feeling sorry for the demon lord? Still too young. Dracula called for the ancient gold to come over and put all the copper coins into the treasury. You must collect it carefully, not a single penny is missing. Gujin was indeed a top-notch goblin, and he finished counting the copper coins in a short time. That's not right. Gujin looked at the account book and fell into deep thought. Why is there one copper coin missing? Dracula came over, glanced at the ledger, and immediately knew what the problem was. He took out a gold coin from his pocket, placed it in front of Gujin, and warned. This gold coin got stuck in the crack just now, and I picked it up with my sharp eyes. Don't forget this when you are doing your accounting. Gujin nodded repeatedly and promised that he would never forget it, and then Dracula left humming a tune. Yabai left his exclusive space and returned to the Eternal Core City. He immediately came to life. Opening his fist, Yabai found a gold coin lying in his palm. Gold coins are wrapped with a thin film, a special material that can block the effects of losing money. This is a small prop prepared by Yabai in advance and ordered from Weavue Pavilion. Unexpectedly, it will come in handy here. While walking in the Golden Mountain, Yabai had quick eyes and quick hands. When Master Fool was not paying attention, he used this material to stick a gold coin and hid it in his palm. Great. Ignoring the loss of 2.499999999 gold coins, Ye prostituted for one gold coin in vain. This gold coin carries the dream of 2.5 billion. Thinking this way, Yabai felt much more comfortable. Because I wasted too much time fighting with Poseidon before, there was not enough time left to recapture the 35th floor. 35, 36, and 37 are connected layers. If you want to recapture them, it will take some effort. Yabai's journey came to an end today. There was no free food supply in the wolf lair, so Xuemen didn't know what he was doing there. With a heavy heart, Ye Bai could only withdraw from the Eternal Core City first and prepare to relax in the Eternal Forest. Result. As soon as he appeared outside the Eternal Forest, a white cloud appeared in front of him. Your friend Shura is connecting. After sitting on Baiun, Ye Bai soared up to the 99th floor and arrived outside the 99th floor. The third brother talked about therapy and a new course of treatment began. Ye Bai greeted him skillfully. Good evening. Inside the tower, a happy voice came, still familiar and still ethereal. Xiaoao corrected him very strictly. It's almost morning. Ye Bai repeated, good morning. Good. After saying hello, the conversation fell into an eerie deadlock of silence. The main thing is that Ye Bai hasn't decided what to say to his third brother yet. During the previous breakthrough, Poseidon revealed many secrets to Ye Bai in order to show his goodwill. For example, the most powerful demon god's murderous and heart-wrenching words. The effect of the sentence to sow discord is actually average. But Ye Bai didn't know how to speak. Could it be that he was patting his chest and promising his third brother that he would never kill the next generation of powerful seeds? This is a bit too cover-up. Moreover, Ye Bai felt that he did not need to make such a guarantee. Ye Bai never expected that Xiaoao would speak first before he could speak. I thought about it. Ye Bai. Seeing Ye Bai's doubts, Xiaoao added. I thought about killing you. The subject, predicate, and object are all complete this time, and the meaning is expressed very clearly. It was so clear that even an illiterate Shura could understand it. Ye Bai felt that he was not far away from 11. Xiaoao continued. I thought about it 36 years ago, but gave up. Before Ye Bai had time to relax, he asked. You knew it was me 36 years ago? Xiaoao shook his head. I don't know. Ye Bai understood immediately. Xiaoao means. 36 years ago, Xiaoao, who became the most powerful seed, thought about killing the next generation of the most powerful seed. In this way, Xiaoao can continue to live and think about his own problems, and the most powerful demon will lie quietly under the eternal tower. Based on Ye Bai's understanding of Xiaoao, it was normal for the third brother 36 years ago to have such thoughts. For Xiaoao, if you have thought about it, you have thought about it, and there is nothing to deny. He does not feel ashamed, embarrassed, or embarrassed. These emotions never bother Xiaoao. After the explanation was clear, Ye Bai breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that he had saved his life. He bit the bullet and continued to ask. Then, why did you change your mind? This question was already the limit of Ye Bai's courage. Faced with this question, even Xiaoao remained silent for a moment. He spoke again. I owe Wuhan my life. Ye Bai didn't know. There was once a conversation about Shura between Lan Lao and Xiaoao. In that conversation, Lao Ian's question was actually asked for all the top human beings. Lan Lao asked Xiaoao, what do you think of Shura? This is a very implicit question. The top leaders of the human race need to know. Faced with the alienation plan of the most powerful demon, will Xiaoao kill Shura? Xiaoao gave his own answer. How Wuhan sees Xiaoao, how Xiaoao sees Shura. Back then, Wuhan fought the most powerful demon alone with one man and one sword, which was equivalent to saving Xiaoao's life. So, in Xiaoao's view, he owed Wuhan his life, and this debt had to be paid back to Shura. That's only fair. Only then did Xiaoao change his mind and come up with this question and answer. After receiving the answer, the senior human race officials felt completely relieved and could cultivate Shura with peace of mind. Although Ye Bai didn't know these things. But he understood the implication of Xiaoao's words. Third brother, how should I say this? Ye Bai said these two words third brother very quietly, even quieter than the sound of a mosquito. He felt that he needed a little more courage as he was about to show off his cards. Let's get close first, so that if the third brother wants to kill the time traveler, he will be gentler. Ye Bai swallowed, made up his mind, and spoke again. I have a secret. Just when Ye Bai was about to show off his cards, he was interrupted by Xiaoao. Everyone has their own secrets. It's not a big deal. That's what it says. But Ye Bai wanted to say that his secret was different from ordinary secrets. As if predicting what Ye Bai wanted to say, Xiaoao interrupted Ye Bai's spell casting again. It doesn't matter. Xiaoao said calmly. This world is big enough to accommodate you. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 577. After Xiaoao finished speaking, Ye Bai fell into silence and did not speak again. The world is big. There is a blue star, there is an abyss, there is a sea of bright stars, there is an upper world. They come, the security. Ye Bai put his heart back in his stomach. There is nothing to fear anymore. As he breathed, he felt a lump in his chest. In fact, after thinking about it carefully, Ye Bai came to his senses. What monsters and monsters has he not seen since traveling through time? Master Ju, the shadow incarnation of Xueju, would be considered a monster who has been practicing for thousands of years if placed in a liuzai. His apprentice Yeju transformed from the virtual world into reality and became a real person. And Su Qingfeng, when has there ever been such a weak 9th level war god in the world? Everything is wonderful. The most important thing is what level the third brother in front of Ye Bai considers every day. Are you the incarnation of the origin of the world? Look at Ye Bai himself, he is just a time traveler. The level suddenly dropped. After getting rid of the biggest uneasiness in his heart, Ye Bai suddenly realized that there was nothing to talk about. Xiaoao didn't leave him alone, and the white cloud slowly fell, sending Ye Bai back to the eternal forest. Ye Bai took a look at the time. It was less than 5:30, and he didn't even have enough time to go back and catch up on his sleep. He simply returned to the Eternal Core City and waited for a destined person in the wolf lair. Half an hour later, a strong man carrying a bloody hammer appeared sneakily outside the wolf lair. He cast his gaze into the wolf den, wanting to see if his master was there. What are you doing? A familiar voice came from behind the strong man, and Ye Bai slapped Xuemeng's golden shoulder armor. The golden pauldrons immediately faded and turned into brass. Ye Bai seemed to have not seen him and invited Xuemeng to come in for a drink. No, I drove here today. Xuemeng excused himself and wanted to refuse Ye Bai's invitation, but in the end he couldn't resist Ye Bai's kindness. I have something big to do with you, a win-win deal. Xuemeng's heart trembled when he heard Shura's words of win-win. It's not fun to win. Shura's understanding of win-win is completely different from what others understand. As soon as he entered the door, Ye Bai shouted. Give us 2 bottles of the best and most expensive wine from Wolf's Lair. Diamond in front of the bar said very seriously. Wolf's Nest just got a batch of good wine, it's very expensive. Very expensive. Xuemeng was shocked, lowered his voice immediately, and warned Shura. I owe a lot of debt now, and I don't have money to buy wine. A dignified and powerful adopted son, 99.9% of his income has nothing to do with him, and he can't even afford to buy wine. I really don't know how I fell to this point. Ye Bai patted Xuemeng's bronze shoulder armor and comforted him. Don't worry, when this deal is completed, you will be willing to pay for these 2 bottles of wine. Then, what if I don't come out? Xuemeng was a little hesitant. He didn't quite believe that Shura could allow him to take the initiative to pay for the drinks. But look at Shura's confident look. Xuemeng made a bold decision, he wanted to challenge his weakness. Okay. Xuemeng gritted his teeth and said fiercely. I want to see today, how can you make me willingly pay for this drink? He himself knows Xuemeng's financial situation best. In the past, Xuemeng was always proud and generous wherever he went. As one of the top warriors of the human race, Xuemeng never worries about money. Even if 99% were turned over, the remaining 1% would still be richer than Su Qingfeng. At least, that was the case before meeting Shura. Besides, even if Xuemeng is willing to pay the bill, he must have the financial strength. Laughing to death, I have no money to pay for it. Is it possible that Shura can still give him money? Just when Xuemeng was thinking this, Shura's next words almost made him spit out blood. I have some money for you. Puff. Xuemeng took a sip of water and killed the old man next door. That bastard plotted against me. The irritable old man who was resurrected from the dead is shaking his chair to demand justice. When the grumpy old man saw the murderer clearly, his anger dropped by half. Xuemeng. Xuemeng can't kill people casually. The grumpy old man was going to try to reason with him, but a masked lone wolf at Xuemeng's desk said, "Brother, please give Shura some face in this matter. Xuemeng will compensate you with 10 God of War meritorious deeds. Do you think that's okay?" Hiss. The grumpy old man looked at Xuemeng and only wanted to say one thing. "Brother, please kill me again. If you are killed once, you will get 10 points of God of War merit without any loss while still in the Eternal Core City. This deal is such a bargain." The other party took 10 God of War merits and left. A group of people gathered around, looking at Xuemeng eagerly. "Brother Meng, don't you want to kill as many as you want? Brother Meng, kill me and I'll give you 2 points as a kickback. I'll give it 8 points. 9.9, it can't be higher." The scene was once very chaotic. "Get out of here, go and do what you have to do." Xuemeng got angry and drove everyone away, ending the farce. "Continue, where were you talking about just now?" Xuemeng looked at Shura, still unable to recover. Shura said he wanted to give himself some money. The sky has eyes. Is such that. Yabai embellished the story of blackmailing Poseidon and briefly talked to Xuemeng. Xuemeng kept gasping for air as he listened, and the entire wolf den became several degrees warmer. He only guessed that Poseidon would be miserable, but he didn't expect Poseidon to be so miserable. Shura is really ruthless, he dares to take advantage of it. However, after hearing the tragic experience of Poseidon, Xuemeng was still confused. What about buying and selling? What about a win-win situation? How about giving me some money? Xuemeng was a little surprised. Why are there 10 God of War merits missing? Don't learn. Yabai returned coldly. Of course the money should be divided between the two of us. In the name of us protecting Poseidon and becoming the 8th demon god, I knocked, for a small amount of money. Yabai said casually. Yabai rolled his eyes and emphasized. Lan Lao once analyzed that when Shura's strength reaches a certain level and is enough to bring him a sense of security, Shura's pathological greed for money will be alleviated. If you want to take these 2,499,990 God of War merits, there are some additional conditions. Sure enough, Lao Ian's analysis is correct. Xuemeng suddenly felt that there was true love everywhere in the world. Xuemeng? Didn't I just compensate someone else's 10 God of War merit for you? Xuemeng put on a straight face and said suspiciously. Are you stupid? In the name of the two of them, Shura defrauded the God of War of 5 million from the God of War. But you are not pretending to be Shura, are you? Yabai said confidently. Xuemeng asked cautiously. Yabai changed the topic. Of course, he didn't dare to ask Shura these questions, he only dared to whisper them in his heart. It's confirmed, it's the real Shura. Xuemeng nodded, there was indeed nothing wrong with him. As for the rest. Xuemeng almost cried. According to Shura, are you planning to split it 50-50? Have you ever seen anyone spend 2.5 million God of War merit to pretend to be Shura? If you follow normal people's logic, this is indeed the case. Your second father learned a sword yesterday, which was very unlucky. But you are Shura. According to the agreement with Poseidon, we are going to the 8th abyss and help him become the 8th demon god. This is what we should do, is it okay? What strings attached? That's true. Even if you are willing to give up 2.5 million, you can search and search for 10 God of War meritorious deeds. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 578. Don't learn? Hearing Shura's words, Shwemen nodded steadily. Okay. I swear from now on, I will not learn this unlucky sword. Although Shwemeng thought for a moment. However, this promise is a little too quick, right? Realizing something was wrong, Yebai narrowed his eyes, revealing the light of wisdom. After examining Shwemeng for a moment, Yebai suddenly spoke. Have you learned the sword House of Gold? Shwemeng was also stunned and blurted out. Ah, isn't it a loss of money? The secret was revealed as soon as he opened his mouth. Sure enough, I learned it. Yebai had a sneer on his face, with a hint of murderous intent overflowing. Shwemeng, I thought you were very honest with your thick eyebrows and big eyes. Who knows, even you. What evil intentions could Shwemeng have? He just wanted to, on a dark and windy night, masked in black clothes, take advantage of Shura's unpreparedness, and hit him with a hammer to break his wealth. What a good Shwemeng. Yebai smiled grimly and came up with the second plan that he had prepared long ago. He had already guessed that Shwemeng might have learned it. After all, the second brother would teach Shwemeng how to master the sword every day. Only Shwemeng can be so fierce. The second brother learned a sword, Shwemeng learned a sword. Yebai pointed to the terms in the contract and introduced. Sign here and it will be notarized by Wanwu Pavilion. After receiving this money, you promise never to use Shura to break wealth. The 2.5 million God of War meritorious service should be regarded as the sword sealing fee for Shwemeng. Shwemeng thought about it carefully and realized that this was really feasible. Although only 0.1% of Shwemeng's income falls into his own hands. But I can't stand a huge volume. 2.5 million, that is, 2,500 God of War merits fell into his pocket. After paying off all foreign debts, Shwemeng can still leave 800 God of War merits. Shwemeng has not been so wealthy for a long time. Brush brush brush. He signed his name, took out the card reader he carried with him, and watched Shura swipe his card generously. Huh. Shwemeng was a little surprised. Shura really acted like a human being today, and he didn't even feel bad about swiping his card. Obviously, Yebai saw what Shwemeng meant. Look at your potential. Of the 2.5 million given to Shwemeng, 68.4% went to Shadow. In fact, it returned to Yebai's subordinates in disguise, and was transferred from the private wallet to Shadow's account. 21.6% belongs to the Nightmare Legion and 9% belongs to the Traceless Legion. These two legions are now stationed in the Abyss, and their various expenses are huge, which is also a help to them. Part of the Nightmare Legion's money belongs to Yebai. The 0.9% given to the third brother Xiaoao will be regarded as the tea fee given by Yebai. This way to organize everything up and down, the money spent is well worth it. As for Shwemeng, who is the center of wool collection, he only takes 2,500 God of War merits, which is already very conscientious. After signing his name, the money arrived quickly and quickly left Shwemeng's account. Looking at the only 800 God of War merits left in his account, Shwemeng couldn't help but sigh. I haven't been this rich for a long time. Yebai had a kind smile on his face. I said, I paid for the 2.5 million God of War meritorious service. You pay for these 2 bottles of wine. Isn't that excessive? Meng first made sure that the 2 bottles of wine were produced by Wanwu Pavilion and not by some powerful seed. Only then did he feel relieved. Not too much. Not too much at all. As soon as Meng finished speaking, he saw Shura put 2 bottles of wine in his pocket, turned around and left calmly. Shura has grown up. Looking at Shura's back, Meng sighed. I still have 800 God of War merits left in my hand. The days when I have money are so good. Just as Meng was sighing, Diamond's cold voice sounded in his ears. Hello, I have spent a total of 799.8 God of War merits. Could you please pay by credit card or by debit? Meng? Why is your wine so expensive? The wine from Wanwu Pavilion must not be a deception. Diamond had already anticipated Meng's reaction and took a bottle to show to Meng. This batch of blood wine is produced in the pavilion of all things. Its main ingredient is the diluted essence and blood of the Forbidden Prince. A bottle is priced at 399.9. The God of War's meritorious deeds are worth mentioning. Meng looked at the ingredient list stupidly, his head filled with questions. Who would use the blood and essence of the Forbidden Prince to make wine? Who knows? Diamond sighed and said with a hint of pity. It can't be that Shura, the most powerful seed, sold raw materials to Wanwu Pavilion to make wine, then used his connections to let the wolf lair get a batch of blood wine, and finally found a scapegoat to pay for himself and let the wine go, right? Meng. Your guess can be more detailed. Seeing that there was only 0.02 God of War merit left, Meng wanted to cry but had no tears left. A few minutes ago, he was still a super rich man with 2.5 million God of War merits. Now, his wealth has shrunk to 100 million, which seems to be 250. Shura, is this also part of your plan? Meng felt that he needed to let his second father learn more about swordsmanship to deal with Shura. The more sword moves like destroying wealth, the better. Just when Meng was about to cry, a familiar figure appeared outside the door. Yeju, who was promoted from level 700 to level 800, finished a busy day of work and returned to the wolf lair at a fixed time to observe the various aspects of life. Meng finally saw Yeju Laode, and quickly called him to come and sit down, and also asked him to send 2 bottles of cheap wine. Xiaju, brother, Meng complained to Yejuda about how he was picked off. But Meng did not dare to speak ill of Shura so bluntly. If Shura knew about it, he would be in big trouble. According to Brother Meng, this person is extremely good at making money with skill, and even if there are many restrictions, it will not prevent the shepherd from making money. Meng? The whole world knows that Meng said that cheap equals Shura. Xiaoju, this shepherd is most afraid of losing money with a sword. When my second father understands this kind of sword again, he. This shepherd is quite a wonderful person. However, I do have a way to bring Brother Meng back. Meng raised his eyebrows and assumed a posture of listening attentively. Yeju had no intention of hiding anything and said calmly. Golden House? Yeju shook his head slightly and held a different opinion. Fortunately, I have you, 9th brother, otherwise I would have been exploited by Xiu, Muang again. Meng was a little strange. Listening to Meng talking about the battle of wits and courage between him and Mu Yang, Yeju found it quite interesting. Yeju showed a calm smile on his face and said confidently. Everyone who understands understands. Yeju laughed dumbly and continued. As a shepherd, watching others make money is probably more uncomfortable than losing money yourself. Meng's eyes sparkled. Therefore, Meng made up an enemy named Mu Yang who often exploited him. Actually, shepherd is not afraid of the sword of breaking wealth, let alone similar sword techniques. But it doesn't matter. Understand the purpose of the sword and whether gold is valuable. In my humble opinion, Brother Meng may have made a mistake. On the contrary, because there are too many restrictions, Shepard's desire for challenge will be stimulated, making him even more aggressive. Yeju didn't know. If you don't teach Shepard the sword of Golden House, it will be the biggest loss to him. So Xiaju, what do you mean? Instead, I asked your second father to create what Muang called the Golden House sword. Brother Meng should change his thinking and not let Muang lose money. If you don't understand, no one will understand. Oh. Why didn't he think of this? After telling the shepherd's story, Xuemeng took a sip of wine, smiled, and said in a low voice. Xuemeng pulled Yeju and said gratefully. Yeju analyzed carefully. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 579. Putting aside the filial piety of the wolf lair. After Ye Bai cheated Xuemeng of 2 bottles of wine, he left the Eternal Tower and returned to reality. Now that he had healed with his third brother, Ye Bai went directly through the teleportation array and returned to Magic City University. He was not idle either, so he wrote an email and sent it to Mr. Lan. Yesterday, regarding the problem of little transparent stuttering, Tan Yan gave a solution on the spot. However, Ye Bai must have a good excuse. Send the solution to Lan Lao. The research institutes of Shanghai University of Science and Technology are all under Mr. Ian's name. In this way, Xiao Transparent went to the institute for a physical examination, and Lao Lan gave him a solution. Behind the scenes, Ye Bai was hiding his merits and fame. Everyone is happy. After sending the email, Ye Bai stretched out. Before he could rest for a minute, a new message came from Shadow Pattern. Shadow 4 said that the subsidy plan for the expansion of Shadow Castle was passed urgently. Ye Bai's eyes lit up, and there was unconcealable joy on his face. In terms of strength, the top management of the human race has always been very impressive. Although there has been no direct contact between the two parties. However, the cooperation is extremely tacit and never holds us back. For example, through Lan Lao's analysis, everyone discovered that Shura has a need for wool. Then, Xuemeng naturally became Shura's contact person. At the meeting, Xuemeng almost used his veto power, but found that he was not the strongest. If you are not the most powerful person, you have a veto power. The veto is invalid. Ye Bai received the complete subsidy plan, a stack of documents thicker than a dictionary. As an official subsidy plan, when it comes to the level of 1 million God of War merits, it naturally has to be extremely rigorous and cannot have any loopholes. Fortunately, Yingxi made a summary and briefly described it in a few lines. 1. According to the list, the cost of expanding Shadow Castle can be controlled at 11 million God of War merits. 2. The subsidy budget is 4 million God of War merit. 3. The subsidy is divided into 2 parts, 2 million God of War merits for goods, and 2 million God of War merits for purchase. 4. After the expansion of Shadow Castle, all Shadow expenses will be handled internally by the Shadow, and there will be no salary subsidy. With Shadow's current scale, daily wages are a terrifying expense. If Ares doubles, the daily salary will increase, and it cannot rely entirely on subsidies. However, this was within Ye Bai's expectation. After several wars, the human race has long been depleted of its family resources, and the major legions are at loggerheads with each other over demands for money and resources. Under such circumstances, it is not easy to spend 4 million God of War merit to subsidize the Shadow expansion. Looking at the newly released subsidy plan, Ye Bai calculated. Shadow Castle originally had 9.45 million, and 68.4% of the 2.5 million was divided, which is 1.71 million, adding up to 11.16 million. If all this money is spent on expansion, it will certainly be enough. But since there is a 4 million subsidy, it will be in vain if you don't use it. Moreover, as the head of the shadow, Ye Bai had many things to worry about. After the expansion is completed, there are still 4.16 million God of War merits left, and wages are tight. Thinking of this, he used Shadow Pattern to contact Shadow 4, temporarily held an online video conference, and worked overtime. I've seen the subsidy plan. Ye Bai went straight to the topic and asked. It's okay to say 2 million yuan for film materials, and the 2 million yuan subsidy from the God of War's merit will be used for procurement. If we earn this batch of materials ourselves, can we save it? This money was originally used to purchase materials. If Shadow can collect enough materials by himself, it would be reasonable to use subsidies to buy the materials he has, right? Okay, that's okay. Of course Yang Si knew what Shura meant and pointed out the problem straight to the point. Where can I get so many film materials? Due to the huge scale of Shadow, the human race's demand for shadow-based materials has always been strong. The places that can produce film-based materials have long been firmly in their hands. Make bricks without straw. Even Shura can't conjure materials out of thin air, right? Well, the main thing is that besides the Eternal Tower, other materials can also be harvested in the abyss. Yang Si said helplessly. There are no demons in the abyss related to the shadow system. Monsters born in the abyss will not come with shadow system materials. Listening to Yang Si's words, Ye Bai nodded slightly, understanding the dilemma. That's it? Etc. Ye Bai's eyes lit up. Does that mean that if there is a demon who is proficient in the shadow system, the abyss can produce shadow system materials? That's right. Yang Si was stunned. What is Fourth Master doing? You won't take your idea to the devil, will you? Look, there is still an empty demon god outside. Fortunately, Zhaolin still has high-intensity daily training, so he doesn't have to worry about gaining weight. Can you change the pot to someone else? Ye Bai. What happened? Tianping knew that he was in the wrong, so he squatted down obediently and looked at Brother Long. As for Poseidon's feelings, no one cares. Calculated this way, the value of the output is more than 1 million. If Poseidonism does not affect the system, then find someone who can study film and become a devil. Brother Long is actually sitting in a wheelchair. There were tears in Brother Long's eyes, his Adam's apple moved slightly, and he almost choked and said, Superman still has to work to make ends meet. 10 minutes later, Ye Bai received a 5-star praise from Zhaolin. If you leave campus life and are under high pressure all day long, you will easily collapse. Ye Bai had a preliminary plan in mind, asking Poseidon, this old boy, to take more classes and learn new knowledge. In a few days, they will go to the 8th abyss and see Poseidon again. After making up his mind, Ye Bai ended the video conference and synchronized the matter with Xuemeng and others. Before Ye Bai came closer, there were only 2 people in front of the teaching building, Brother Long and Tianping. Ye Bai went to the cafeteria window and reported Feed's name, and received a hearty breakfast. He directly sent the rest to Zhaolin via Wanwuj Express, global delivery in 3 minutes. If you are purchasing, please don't rush, wait for my news. A world where only the devil is injured appears. After finishing all the matters at hand, Ye Bai walked out of his small dormitory and strolled through Shanghai University. Ye Bai ate 10% of this breakfast. After breakfast, Ye Bai rushed to today's meeting place in advance. Once Poseidon learns the shadow system and becomes a demon, the 8th abyss will continue to produce shadow system materials. Going to college, for Ye Bai, is more like an act of buffering, adjusting, and relaxing his mood. Don't you know that Tianzi Class 3 is owned by Ye Bai Mao? The 8th demon god. Before he even got close to the teaching building, Ye Bai realized that something was not right. Who dared to do this to Brother Long from Tianzi Class 3? Yang Si immediately followed Shura's rhythm and reacted. Sitting in a wheelchair with bandages all over his body, Brother Long, his lips squirmed and he spoke with difficulty. Breakfast is good, I finally feel full. Qianping, squat down. I want to ask you a favor. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 580. The scales are too abominable. Ye Bai complained about Brother Long. Why should Brother Long bear the blame for the scale? Unfair. Obviously, Ye Bai felt that there was nothing wrong with him at all. Tianping comforted Brother Long a few more words and promised him that if there is still a blame next time, he will definitely take the blame. During this period, Brother Long's injury was almost healed. By chance, Ye Bai came to gather. Brother Long, balance, morning. Ye Bai looked at Brother Long standing up from the wheelchair and asked blankly. Brother Long, this is. Brother Long pretended not to care and said calmly. It's just a discussion. If Brother Long hadn't almost cried when he saw him before, Ye Bai would have really believed him. However, Brother Long's hard days are over. Tianping is a trustworthy person. If there is a pot next time, he will take the initiative to take it. Ye Bai changed the topic and asked. What are your plans for today? Tianping quickly took out today's training plan. Little Transparent is going to take a physical examination. The singer has a medical school lecture to attend in the morning, which is 2 credits. In the afternoon, there is battlefield first aid training. Although the 5 people in Tianzi Class 3 are classmates, everyone's growth path is obviously different. Auxiliary nannies like Diva need to learn more professional knowledge and then join the team to work together. Ye Bai, Long Ji, and Tianping are considered a combat team and can be trained together in a general way. The 3 of us will participate in Teacher Su's special training today. Tianping sighed. Teacher Su is very capable. He invited 2 8th-level war gods to give us guidance. Ye Bai. No matter how bad Lao Su is, he is still a 9th-level god of war, right? Invite 2 8th-level war gods to make up the lessons. I really belong to you, Lao Su. Not long after Tianping finished speaking, a scholar in Xingyi appeared in front of the 3 of them. He was holding a folding fan and had an elegant demeanor. He was none other than the powerful 9th-level god of war Su Qingfeng. Su Ban, morning. Su Qingfeng smiled and nodded with satisfaction. Morning, I heard that you guys have been doing well these past 2 days. I'm going to treat you to barbecue for lunch. Ye Bai. How much meat did you take away from me? Before and after, Ye Bai ate more than 3 meals alone. The problem is that the ingredients Su Qingfeng brings out every time he treats guests are extremely fresh. Ye Bai fell into deep thought. Is there something wrong? Su Qingfeng went straight to the point without being polite. The main content of today's special training is to improve your ability to control your own strength. In fact, Ye Bai had accepted all the training arranged by Lao Su. The instructor who trained Ye Bai was a little prestigious man named Huo Tian Wang. At first, King Huo Tian transformed 1 into 9, and the most powerful incarnation came to Ye Bai, and fought with Ye Bai several times. That period of time was also the period when Ye Bai improved his power control and combat skills the fastest. Even if King Huo Tian has been away for so long, Ye Bai can still learn from this experience and hone his skills. It was precisely because of this kindness that Huo Tianyi owed Ye Bai 5 million for his god of war merit, so he was not in a hurry to collect the debt. You know, the money Huo Tianyi owes is different from what others owe. Huo Tianyi's debt was Ye Bai's real money, and he spent 1 million god of war merit to help him build a genuine top-notch SS-level equipment. From a certain perspective, Huo Tianyi must live well. Otherwise, who would Ye Bai look for to get these 6 million god of war merits? After Huo Tianwang's beating and the assistance of the Eye of Insight, Ye Bai's fighting skills were so perfect that he was almost transformed. The special training program that Su Qingfeng created was of course ineffective for Ye Bai. However, it was ineffective for Ye Bai, but for the other two people, the effect was very good. In training, Brother Long, who had been beaten everywhere and struggled to parry, suddenly the broken dragon tattoos on his arms burst out with black light, and his combat power skyrocketed. He actually made a breakthrough. Maybe it's because I've been beaten more recently, maybe I'm feeling sad and angry, maybe. In short, with the superposition of total factors, Brother Long's control of his own strength and the use of his talents have improved to a new level. Brother Long, who successfully broke through, did not feel any joy, but stared at the scale for the first time. Tianping hurriedly patted his chest and assured Brother Long, "Don't worry, this time I will definitely tell the outside world that I made a breakthrough." With the balance's guarantee, Brother Long breathed a sigh of relief. He really couldn't bear it anymore. Being beaten every day, not only the physical torture, but also the mental pain. Seeing the results of his students, Su Qingfeng had a slight smile on his face, but he was smiling from ear to ear in his heart. Even though he is weak among the 9th level war gods. But what class does Lao Su lead? Tianzi class 3. Very good. Su Qingfeng nodded slightly and commented. His. Keep up this momentum, and we should still be able to stay in Tianzi class by the end of the primary semester. If I let him see the gold coins, I'm afraid his eyes will light up and it will be difficult to end it. I can pass, but only a little bit. You may have heard people say that I have a shadow teacher. Some. Ye Bai kept nodding and said while holding back his heartache. It's too coincidental that something went wrong with this system, right? By the way, Balance, there is an eternal gold coin subsidy here, please share it with everyone. Tianping nodded slightly, a little confused. Su Qingfeng stopped acting and just started showing off. Under Ye Bai's deliberate efforts, all his projects were just a little bit on the passing line. There is a temporary problem with the school credit system. This extra subsidy is now issued in the form of eternal gold coins. Ye Bai was thinking about when he would rush to Tianzi class 1, get more credits and subsidies, and revive the glory of the strongest seeds. Even through a storage ring, breaking wealth can take effect and convert gold coins into copper coins. And there's this weird disease. The scales quickly divided the gold coins, but Ye Bai was determined not to take his share. What does sharing money have to do with teachers? If you want to help me collect this money, it's small money, it's not important. Watching Ye Bai in a mess is just fun. Tianping was thinking about how to maintain the order of Tianzi class 3. Could it be that a masked man ran into the school computer room in the middle of the night and picked up a hammer and smashed it? That teacher of mine likes eternal gold coins the most. Before Su Qingfeng left, he took out a storage ring and handed it to Tianping, which contained 50 million eternal gold coins. Ye Bai. Scale, please help me hold it? Tianping said in surprise. However, Su Qingfeng was not surprised that he behaved like this. 50 million gold coins, which is 50 credits, works out to 10 credits per person. Ye Bai lowered his voice and said. Soon, the day's training was over. Ye Bai warned. It would be better for Su Qingfeng to just say that staying in the Tianzi class would be considered a success. Everyone. It's really a mess, I still have to look at Lao Su.